Hello. After the previous pandas video, I was thinking of doing more of that, and I was playing around the documentation and I saw this function, pandas read SQL table, and it looked pretty cool and I wanted to try it out immediately, and I had gone through hell a lot of problems, and I finally found out what was causing the problem. And sometimes you're stuck in a technical problem, and sometimes it's frustrating, and there are ways to get over it. And in this video, we are going to do just that. We are going to get ourselves into a problem and we are going to find our way out of it. So let's dive deep in. So pandas read SQL table. What does it say? It says you need to give it a table name and a connection string. So it says SQL Alchemy connectable or an str function or a string, right? And scrolling down on looking at example, it looks pretty obvious. You have to give it a table name and a Postgres URI. So I have my Postgres admin here. This is a visualization for my Postgres databases. And under Postgres dataset, I have a table called as pandas data. So this is the database and the table I am trying to read. Once I go into my Jupyter notebook, I'm into importing pandas as PD, and I'm looking at the version because the latest version is 1.0.3. I'm ensuring that. And this is my Postgres URL. So Postgres 123, and the pandas dataset is my database name here, pandas dataset, right? And my table name is pandas data, like I've already shown you, and it's under the public schema. So on reading this, what happens is, my first issue, right? It says read schema only supports SQL Alchemy connectable. So I got into thinking that, maybe there's something wrong with the documentation. Maybe it only supports uh, SQL Alchemy connectable. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to uh, import, like create a SQL Alchemy connectable. And for that, you need to use SQL Alchemy create engine. And then, okay, so on doing that, it says that SQL Alchemy is not installed. Maybe that's what is causing the problem. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new tab, and I'm going to enable my virtual environment. And then what I'm going to do is pip install SQL Alchemy. Okay, that got installed, and okay, now that is fixed. Now we still have the URI. So engine is equal to create engine of the Postgres URI. So let's see if this works. Something is okay. This module is missing. Then let's do that as well. Pip install. Now you can see like we are slowly getting our way out of it, but we still have this problem where Postgres URI is still not working, right? So we still have that problem, but we'll figure this out first. So in Postgres, engine object is what we call as a connectable. So we have that engine object. Now just let's pass that in. Okay, it's still not working. This is still a connectable. Even that was not working. So now our next resort is, to actually copy paste this and see what's going on. Someone has actually filed an issue which was very similar to what we faced. So read SQL table. Okay, his problem is kind of different. Like the table is not found and nothing else. Okay. Okay, on going through this back and forth quite a number of time, I found this file sql.py, and it has something called as is SQL Alchemy connectable. So let's see what this function is all about, right? For that, we have to actually go into the pandas code itself. So what I'm going to do is pandas github and see what that function is all about, right? Find file sql.py. Okay, there is our function right there on top of it. So it's checking for a global SQL Alchemy, whether it's installed or not. I don't know where. Okay, it's set here. It's none by default. And then there is no trace of whether it is an. Okay, it's actually directly checking whether it's a connectable, which is odd. I'm only passing the engine. I'm also passing the engine object, but it's kind of not working. Maybe it's a bug. Okay, I don't know exactly, but we already looked through the issue, so it might not be a bug. Nobody has already filed it, so it's a huge bug. So as far as I know, pandas, as far as I have been contributed to it, someone would not miss the bug like that, and no issues was filed also. But one thing that was notable here was it's accessing a global variable. And in the previous video, we had a similar issue like this with pandas. The problem was Jupyter Notebook was loading the kernel in itself before the SQL Alchemy could be initiated. So that might be a problem. So what I'm going to do is I am going to stop my session, and then I'm going to start my session again. And it opens a new Jupyter Notebook and will instantiate a new instance. Now let's try running this again. Okay, we don't need engine necessarily. Let's try whether it works with Postgres URL. Okay, now we have a different error. It says pandas data is not found. So this was the next issue I was facing. I showed you, as I showed you, I have my pandas data table right here sitting in front of me. I'm not sure why this error was popping up. After fiddling around for quite a bit of time, I found out that this has literally no data or no columns because I was not creating any of them. So if you see here, there was nothing whatsoever, right? So what we can do is we have to create some columns. So I'm going to create column, or I can say properties and then columns and then add new column and then ID. Data type is integer. Okay, and it's going to be our primary key, and I'm going to add another thingy called product name, and this is going to be a varying character of length 100. There. So with that, we have our data in. So finally, I could solve all the problems. So the message I want to say here is anytime you're stuck with any problem, don't lose hope. There are quite a bit of tricks you can do to get yourself out of the problem. It's pretty normal. Don't lose hope. I hope you have a good day. Thank you. Bye bye.